Good morning. Or I guess it could be afternoon for you, or even evening. Could be the middle of the night. But for me, I'm having my cup of coffee. It's 7 a.m. I am in my studio talking to you first thing. And the reason that I'm showing up first thing is I realized this morning that I wanted to talk to you right after nighttime. And I'll tell you why is that I am inviting you into it's a course that I have, but I'm going to be also doing live coaching every week along with it. And the course is called Nightlight. And the reason it's called Nightlight is many of you know that 30 years ago, I was really lost in the dark, really lost in the dark. It felt like this iron wall closing in on me more and more and more. And I could barely get out of the despair. And I have that story in another video, so I'm not going to go deeply into it. But just to say that what happened for me, the reason I use the term pinpricks of light a lot is because when that iron wall was closing in on me, I had an experience where I had a moment of well-being where I literally heard myself say, I don't want to kill myself right now. And that moment was a pinprick of light in that iron wall. That moment was me understanding that what felt like a solid iron wall, what felt like it was just complete darkness, could have moments of light in it. And as long as there was one little moment of light, I was headed in a different direction, right? That one moment of light, I was no longer going deeper into despair and deeper into, I got to get off this planet. I'm such a loser. I'm such a failure. Why can't I get anything right? Why can't I blah, 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 all that craziness in the head. And so I wanted to create a course, and the image of a nightlight came to me because it's the same thing, right? Like when I know for me, nighttime can be where those voices of fear and worry and anxiety and why didn't you, or why'd you say that, or you should have, or remember 20 years ago, or you'll never, or this is going to happen. Like all of those voices seemed for me to come out in full force at night. And thank goodness they don't anymore. And thank goodness so many things have shifted for me, but I'll never, ever, ever forget. It's like in my bones, what those many, 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 many years were like of being afraid of the dark, and what the darkness felt like to me, that it was so scary that I wanted off this planet. And I'm hoping that anyone who's listening to this is not in that state of deep despair. However, I'm well aware that there's a whole spectrum, right, of light and dark. And many times we come in and out, and depending on the circumstances of our life, we might have a dark moment. But I'm very interested, as you know, in sharing so many wonderful tools and practices that really, truly helped me. I can honestly say I went from living life in the dark almost all the time, but not all the time, but life in the dark to a life that feels filled with light every single day. I feel as if my heart gets bigger, my capacity to love expands, my ability to see things that bring me joy and that uplift me. It's like coffee. Hold on a second. I need a sip of coffee for this. I feel as if these practices have literally rewired my cells, because I do think, and I know, again, there's all sorts of things that happen that cause people to feel like they're in the dark, and some of them are grief, which we're going through a lot of in our world right now, right? So it could be a shared global grief. It could be a personal grief of the loss of someone you love. It could be the loss of a relationship. It could be the loss of a dream. It could be our children moving out of the house and we miss them. It could also be, just simple like blues, or flatlining or feeling apathetic. There are just so many levels and layers of what that darkness can be. And I totally forgot where I was going. I had I had a I had a point, but you know what? It doesn't matter because my intention this morning was to simply turn on the recorder and go and just talk to you from my heart about why this is so important to me. And so this class, Nightlight, is it's a 4-week collection of some of the tools and practices and mindset tips that really have helped me to literally rewire. Oh, that's what I was going to say. See, I love how life does that. What I was going to say is there's all sorts of things that can place us in that darkness. I don't know this for sure, but I feel as if maybe there's some chemical depression that was in my system, because I think, if you look at my ancestors, blah, 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 I just think that there was a history of depression running through our family. And I literally feel as if over the past 30 years, I have rewired, because I know, we all just sort of know how we feel in our systems. And it's like a new life for me. And I don't say that lightly. I don't take it lightly. I never take it for granted, because I also still can very clearly remember what it was like to wake up almost every night in the middle of the night with those demons breathing on my neck. Just felt as if I was surrounded by, I don't know, evil. It's just is the only word that's coming to me. Like that, constant barrage of why I wasn't good enough and how I had failed and I had so much potential and why couldn't I live up to it and why was I such a loser and why did I, again, I've said this earlier in the video, but Nightlight. Nightlight is a 4-week online course, and each week I'm going to be meeting with you live to share what we're going through in the class. And I'm so excited to do this, especially right now in this moment in time when the world has turned upside down. There's so much loss. And also, I know we know this, but I want to speak to this as well. There's so much loss, and there's so much beauty and love and light happening that it's like I want to offer you what life offered me, which was the chance to turn my attention to that nightlight, to keep my focus on the nightlight, so that instead of going further over here and following that darkness, that there's a way to turn our attention and keep it on that one light. And from that one light, we start down that path and we see more. And before we know it, and this is why I love that. I love the metaphor of night and nightlight, is that morning comes, right? Like we all, I think, have experienced that, where you're just like, oh, the light, thank goodness. Now it's all light, right? So that's what I want to offer you. I'm really excited. I want to offer this because we're in this time where I know different people are in different situations, right? There's some people who have totally lost their income, and I know that and I hear that. And if that's you and you want to join this course and you still need support, I invite you to come and pay $1. Just I've got a pay what you can button, and pay $1 just so that you have, that sense of like, what do they say? Some skin in the game, which is a funny, I don't even know what that expression means, but there's that for you. If you're someone who you're thriving, you're still working, maybe you've always worked from home, or maybe your company is still up and running and you feel as if you're able to pay full price, I would really love that. I would appreciate that, because this is my livelihood. And this is part of how I'm paying for my son to go to college. So He just got accepted to Berkeley, and we are so excited for him. And it's a big, it's a big, we need to really like pay for it. So if you're able to support that, I'm so happy. I'd be very grateful. And if there's something in between, maybe you can pay half price, or maybe you want to pay a quarter price, or whatever is right for you. I don't want the money to be an issue. What I want is to be able to go through this with a small group of people. I'm hoping that we'll have like a really lovely, intimate group that feels very safe. For those of you who have been joining me on Tuesday nights, we've had, I don't know, maybe 7, 8, 10, 12 people, 15 maybe some nights. And that is what I'm really looking for, is a group where, like, people have told me that feels very safe, and it feels like it's a place people can come and know that we can talk about what's going on for us, but we can keep our sights set on, where do we find the peace? Where do we find the joy? How can we step outside? I want it to be a space outside of anxiety. I want it to be a space outside of the dark. So maybe the space itself, I never thought of this before, but this just dropped in. Maybe the space itself feels like a nightlight in the room, and that we're all there together. I don't know, holding hands or telling stories or sharing hot chocolate, whatever, that's what it feels like to me. So thank you for listening. I hope that you'll join me and this course. And the last thing I want to say is, if you're really busy right now, if you might feel as if, I don't know if I have time to do this, I've made the course really simple. So it's the sort of thing that you can pop in, and even if you just spend 10 minutes a week in the course, then come to the group, that I think would be wonderful, because we'll be reinforcing in the groups what we're doing in the class. So thanks. Sending love, sending peace. I hope you'll join in. Bye-bye.